The real problem with living on the moon. Have you ever wondered what it would truly be like to live on the moon? Not just a short visit, not just planting a flag, but actually packing your bags, moving your entire life, and calling the moon your home. Sounds exciting, right? Humanity's great leap into space. The dream of living among the stars. A new frontier, a new beginning. But here's the thing no one talks about enough. The moon may look peaceful and beautiful from Earth, but living there comes with problems so massive, so dangerous, and so unexpected, they could turn our dream into a nightmare. Today on KM's Celestial Journey, we're going deep. We're going to explore the real problem with living on the moon. Not the sugar-coated version, not the sci-fi fantasy, but the real challenges, the hidden dangers, and the surprising truths that make lunar life far more complicated than you think. So let's begin. Chapter 1, The Illusion of Simplicity. From Earth, the moon feels close. It's only about 384,000 kilometers away. In cosmic terms, that's basically next door. We've sent astronauts there before. We've seen pictures. We've watched the famous giant leap for mankind. So you might think, if we've already been there, why can't we just go back and stay? It seems simple. Build a base, bring some food, set up power, and voila, humanity's first home off Earth. But this illusion of simplicity quickly shatters when you look at the details. Because every single thing we take for granted on Earth, air, water, food, gravity, protection from radiation, becomes a massive, life-threatening challenge on the moon. And unlike Earth, the moon doesn't forgive mistakes. Chapter 2, The Problem of Breathing. Let's start with something so basic, so obvious, we barely even think about it on Earth: breathing. On our planet, oxygen surrounds us. Invisible, plentiful, automatic. But on the moon, there is no breathable atmosphere. The lunar air is so thin, it's practically a vacuum. If you stepped outside without protection, you wouldn't survive more than a few seconds. Sure, astronauts have spacesuits. Sure, we could bring tanks of oxygen, but here's the problem. Oxygen isn't infinite. You'd need a constant, never-ending supply, and shipping oxygen from Earth is expensive. Astronomically expensive. So scientists say, don't worry, we'll make oxygen from the moon's soil. The lunar regolith is full of oxygen locked inside minerals. And yes, that's true. But do you know how much energy it takes to extract it? Do you know how complex the machinery would have to be? And what happens if that machinery breaks? On Earth, an oxygen tank running empty is an inconvenience. On the moon, it's a death sentence. So the first real problem of living on the moon isn't just about oxygen itself, it's about the constant pressure of survival. Every breath you take isn't guaranteed. Every breath depends on technology that can fail. Imagine living your entire life knowing that if one system fails for even a few hours, everyone around you could suffocate. That's not just a physical challenge, that's a psychological weight humanity has never carried before. Chapter 3, The Curse of Lunar Dust. Now, let's talk about something that sounds harmless, but might be the single biggest enemy of lunar colonization: dust. Yes, dust. Lunar dust. The regolith. When Apollo astronauts visited the moon, they all complained about it. It stuck to everything. It clung to their suits. It got into their lungs. It smelled like burnt gunpowder. But here's what most people don't know. Lunar dust isn't like Earth dust. It's sharp, it's jagged, it's made of tiny glass-like particles formed by micrometeorite impacts. And because there's no wind or water to smooth them down, those sharp edges stay forever. Breathe it in, and it can scar your lungs permanently. Let it into machinery, and it can destroy seals, jam joints, and ruin equipment. Get it on your skin, and it can cause rashes and irritation. Now imagine trying to live on the moon long-term, where every time you step outside, you bring this toxic dust back inside with you. It's not just messy, it's deadly. And the worst part? There's no easy way to get rid of it. Vacuum cleaners won't solve the problem. Air filters can only do so much. Scientists are still struggling to find a solution, and until they do, lunar dust may be the Achilles heel of any moon colony. Chapter 4: The Nightmare of Radiation. Let's imagine you've solved oxygen. You've dealt with dust. You step outside your lunar habitat to look at the stars. And then you realize there's something else invisible, something silent, something deadly. Radiation. On Earth, our thick atmosphere and magnetic field protect us. They shield us from solar storms and cosmic rays. But on the moon, there is no protection. The sun's radiation blasts the lunar surface directly. Cosmic rays from deep space bombard the ground. In small doses, it's survivable. But long-term, the risks are terrifying. Cancer, DNA damage, radiation sickness. Living on the moon would mean bathing in invisible poison day after day. So what's the solution? Some scientists propose building bases underground, carved into the lunar regolith, where the dust itself becomes a shield. Others suggest covering habitats with thick layers of soil, or even building them inside ancient lava tubes beneath the surface. But no matter what, the reality is clear. Living on the moon won't look like the glossy space hotels of science fiction. It will look like hiding, living in bunkers, living under rock just to survive the sun. Is that the dream humanity imagined, or is it a nightmare in disguise? Chapter 5: The Gravity Trap. Now let's talk about something people rarely consider: gravity. On Earth, we live under 1G. Our bodies, our bones, our muscles, our hearts, every system has evolved to work in this exact condition. On the moon, gravity is only about 1/6 of Earth's. That might sound fun at first. You'd be able to jump higher, carry heavier loads, maybe even feel superhuman. But here's the truth: our bodies don't adapt well to low gravity. Spend too much time in it and your bones weaken, your muscles shrink, your heart doesn't pump the same way, your balance changes. Astronauts in microgravity already face this problem after just months in space. On the moon, it would be worse, because it's not zero gravity, it's partial gravity. And we don't yet know what decades of life at 1/6 gravity would do to a human body. Would children born on the moon ever develop Earth-strong bones? Would they even be able to return to Earth at all? Or would lunar humanity slowly evolve into something different, something weaker, something no longer compatible with life on Earth? This isn't science fiction, it's an unanswered question. And until we know the answer, building a permanent colony might be risking the health of every person who dares to live there. Chapter 6: The Darkness and the Cold. Picture this: you're living on the moon. You look out a window. The Earth hangs above you, glowing blue and white. Beautiful, right? But then night falls. And on the moon, night doesn't last a few hours. It lasts 14 Earth days. 2 full weeks of total darkness. 2 weeks without sunlight. 2 weeks of extreme cold. During that time, solar power won't work. Temperatures can drop to minus 173 degrees Celsius. Machinery freezes. Batteries run dry. Life becomes fragile. Then the day returns. But it's not gentle. It's brutal. 2 weeks of scorching sunlight. Temperatures rise to over 120 degrees Celsius. Everything overheats. Living on the moon means surviving this endless cycle. 2 weeks of deadly cold, 2 weeks of searing heat. No sunrise, no sunset, just extremes. Could we build technology to handle it? Maybe. Nuclear power plants, advanced batteries, underground shelters. But each solution adds complexity, cost, and risk. And every risk on the moon is a risk with no second chances. Chapter 7: The Cost of Isolation. Even if we solve the technical problems, there's another problem that's just as dangerous: the human mind. On Earth, if something goes wrong, help isn't far away. Hospitals, emergency services, support systems. On the moon, you're 384,000 kilometers away from the nearest safety net. Isolation changes people. Long missions in Antarctica or space stations already show the psychological toll: loneliness, depression, tension, conflict. Now imagine being trapped in a lunar base with the same small group of people for years. No fresh air, no natural sunlight, no open sky, just walls, dust, and silence. The moon isn't just a physical challenge, it's an emotional one. Because living there means giving up many of the simple joys of Earth permanently. Chapter 8, the supply chain problem. Finally, let's talk about something less dramatic, but just as devastating: supply. Every screw, every bolt, every meal, every tool, if it can't be made on the moon, it has to be shipped from Earth. And shipping things to the moon is not like sending a package across the ocean. It's millions of dollars per launch, it's months of planning, it's risk, delay, and danger. If one supply mission fails, a whole colony could run out of food, or medicine, or spare parts. Until we figure out how to make almost everything we need directly on the moon — food, oxygen, tools, power — the colony will always live in dependency. And dependency in space means vulnerability. Conclusion: the real problem. So what is the real problem with living on the moon? It's not just oxygen. It's not just radiation. It's not just dust or cold or gravity. The real problem is everything. The moon is hostile in every way imaginable. It demands solutions for every basic need. It punishes mistakes instantly. It pushes the human body and mind to their limits. And yet, we still dream. Because despite all these problems, humanity has never stopped reaching higher. We've always looked at the impossible and said, one day we will conquer it. Maybe the moon isn't meant to be our home forever. Maybe it's just the first step, the training ground for something greater. For Mars, for the stars, for a future where humanity isn't trapped on one fragile planet. But if we're serious about that future, we need to face the truth. Living on the moon won't be easy. It won't be glamorous. It will be hard, dangerous, and unforgiving. And that's why it matters. Because every great leap for humanity has always come with great risk. So the question is, when the time comes, will we be ready to take that leap again?